asked this question all the time. Who's the best DPS in the world? Do DPS rankings matter? What are you looking for in DPS rankings? And let me answer the question pretty simply. DPS rankings don't matter at all. Especially at this point in expansion. The only time that I hold merit in the DPS rankings is the first month that heroics are out. Okay, literally the first month that heroics are out are the only weeks where I actually deem DPS rankings worthwhile. Why? Because after about a month of things being cleared, people start to get Zerg strats, their gear starts to become overpowered, so they can start to ignore mechanics. There's just a lot of things that come into play that can allow you to really start scumbagging super hard. The first 3-4 weeks when you're still fresh, your gear isn't overpowered, you have to do all the mechanics, you have to do them right. And the gear isn't necessarily funneled to all the best players, and everybody's somewhat on an equal playing field. Obviously, some people are going to be a little bit more geared, some people a little bit less, but for the most part, it averages out pretty evenly. These are the only weeks that I actually hold DPS rankings any value whatsoever. The end of an expansion when everybody's doing Zerg strats, things like Tricks of the Trade, Unholy Frenzy, just a million different things that you could put into an equation of why my DPS was higher than yours. Also scumbagging. Just complete scumbag Zerg down strats don't really show skill. They just show that you know how to do your rotation really, really well and how to spread dots to everything and moving. That's really all it means. The biggest thing, especially at this point in expansion, is everyone's like, well, Nash, why don't you just keep rating so you can go for ranks? Because rankings at this point do not matter. They're like a stop sign at 4 in the morning. They're fun to look at. That's about it. Don't mean anything. I wanted to make this video for a little while because a lot of people have asked me about DPS rankings, and guys, to be honest, it's just not important, especially at this point in the expansion. The only time that I hold value in it is when everybody's pretty much equal, when everybody's using roughly the same strategy, and when everybody's gear is still relatively equal. You can out DPS someone who's got 4 or 5 gear levels on you. It is possible to do, especially if you have good procs, everything lines up perfect, yada yada yada. If you have a good ranking day, you're gonna rank. And really, how do you tell where that ranks you? Does that really mean anything? What number would you put yourself at? I don't know. If in the first 4 weeks of heroics being out, if you're ranking every fight in the top 10, 15, 20, 25 for your spec on heroic mode, I would probably deem you to be one of the top 100 players of that class. The reason I say 100 is because there's a lot of top guilds who have, maybe people have to do class switching, maybe they have to deal with certain mechanics. Average it out. You know, if you ranked on every single fight, you know, Siege of Orgrimmar, that first week of heroics, I don't remember how many heroics we got down, but I ranked in the top 30 in every single one of them. I ranked as high as 4th on Dark Shamans. So it's like, you know, am I the 4th best mage in the world? Absolutely not. I'm not even close. Do I think I'm in the top 100? Absolutely. And I'm not trying to be cocky when I say that, but I also have confidence in my gameplay, and I really honestly feel that if you gave 100 mages, said I want the top 100 fire mages in the world, you're going to have the exact same gear, you're going to do the exact same fight, you're going to have the exact same mechanics, I guarantee you I wouldn't take last place. I promise you I wouldn't. There's no way. A, I'm too competitive, and B, I enjoy being competitive too much to take last. And I know what I'm doing. So do I really, and I want you to really think about that. So if you say, oh, well, I'm one of the top mages, or I'm one of the top warlocks in the world, or one of the top paladins in the world, are you? And how do you judge that? How do you judge any class being the top DPS? This is just a couple of thoughts of discussion. I'm curious to know what you guys think, because I've had this question come up a lot. What do you deem is making a class ranked? Like, how do you rank the top players in your class? Like, if I were to go through warlocks, if I were to go through warlocks, I know Sparkug's up there. I know Shinafei's up there. Where does Aki fall? You know, where does the guy from LA, .exe, where does he fall? Where do some of these really, really good warlocks fall? You know, how do you judge them? How do you rank them in a system? Well, you don't. There's really no perfect way to rank them in a system. Do they all know how to do their rotation? Yes. Do they all know pretty much how to get out of mechanics? Yes. Do they all do, you know what I mean? Do they all know how to scumbag and get the most out of their class in every single scenario? Yes. I mean, that's just the way that life is. You know, the skill cap difference is so minimal that it's so hard to rank. So if you're really curious about where you stack up, you know, really give yourself a run. You know, really run at it this next expansion. Tell yourself, you know, if you're in a guild that's going to be pushing heroic content, trying to really guild for that, you know, that top spot, you know, are you in a high-end guild? That's going to be the first thing. If you're not in a high-end guild, you're probably not one of the best. Sorry to tell you, You're probably not. So get in a high-end guild. Understand that that's not, you know, it's easier said than done. If you can get in a higher-end guild, that's step number one. Step number two is making sure that you're clearing a lot of heroic bosses that first week that heroics are available, or in this case of Warlords of Draenor, that mythic rating is going to be available. Make sure that you're in a group that's going to be killing some bosses. And then B, go through over the next month, and as you kill more and more bosses, you know, each time you do that fight and each time you gear up a little bit more, check your rankings out. Are you ranking in the top 30, in the top 50, in the top 150? Are you not ranking at all? You know, these are the things, little things that you can do to judge where you are, and you'll never have an exact number. You can never say I'm the second or third best warlock or mage in the world. You just never can really say that with any validity. But to be honest, you can pretty much tell yourself if you're in the top 100. I think you can definitely do that. If you can say, well, every time an expansion comes out or every time a new raid tier comes out, I consistently rank in the top 25, the top 30, the top 40, the top 50, you know, on all these fights until Scumbag starts to come into play, until Overgearing starts coming into play, and until Zerg strats start coming into play, I consistently can rank in this range. That will roughly put you in that range of player. Especially if you're doing it over the course of multiple different fights, multiple different weeks, consistent ranking. If you look at some of these guys like Blatty consistently ranks. You know, when a new expansion comes out or a new tier of rating comes out, he consistently ranks. On his mage especially, he was just doing insanity with some of the amounts of ranks he had. Do I consider him still one of the best mages of the world, even though he plays Warlock for Method last tier? Yes, I do. Absolutely, I consider him one of the best mages in the world. Probably one of the top 3. But again, all that is debatable. So when you're actually talking about DPS rankings, are they worthwhile? Is there a way to measure? I don't know. You guys tell me. Let me know what you think in the comments below about what might be a good solution to actually ranking systems, or what might be a good way to really tell how to rank yourself, or if you agree with me or disagree with me. I'd be curious to hear your guys' thoughts on this one. Thank you for watching, and as always, see you in the next one.